Hello and welcome back to this series of the Happier Ever After. Today we're talking about meaning, not happiness, not positivity, not moving on, but meaning and what it can look like after the death of a partner. This is a topic that can feel tender, complex, and sometimes uncomfortable. Because for many people, the idea of finding meaning after such a profound loss can feel loaded. It can sound like pressure, like expectation, like being asked to make something good out of something devastating. So, before we go any further, I want to be very clear about what this episode is and what it isn't. This is not about finding meaning in the loss. It's not about saying the loss happened for a reason, and it's not about turning grief into happiness. This episode is about meaning after loss, and those are very different things. When we talk about meaning after the death of a partner, we're not talking about erasing grief or replacing what was lost. We're talking about how life begins to orient again, where the world you were living no longer exists. And for many people, the loss of a partner doesn't just bring sadness, it brings the collapse of meaning. Plans dissolve, assumptions fall away. The future you were moving towards disappears, and suddenly life can feel empty or directionless. Not because you don't care, because the framework that gave your life coherence has been removed. If that's been your experience, you're not alone, and it doesn't mean you lack resilience or purpose. It means something fundamental has been lost. I want to start by drawing an important distinction. Meaning is not the same as happiness. Happiness is an emotional state. Meaning is a sense of coherence. You can feel sad and still experience meaning. You can feel moments of joy and still feel life is meaningless. After loss, many people feel pressure to be happy again. But happiness is not a reliable guide in grief. Meaning is often quieter. It shows up as a sense of what matters now, feeling of alignment with how you're living, a sense that your life, well changed, still has integrity and that can exist alongside ongoing grief. Meaning after loss does not require you to feel good. It requires you to feel true. Another misunderstanding is that meaning is something you find, as though it's out there somewhere waiting to be discovered. In reality, meaning after loss is usually something you create slowly and often without realizing you're doing it. It emerges through choices, through values, through how you respond to what's happened. And importantly, it emerges from who you are now, not who you were before. This is where many people get, they try to rebuild a life that resembles the one they lost. The same priorities, the same pace, the same definitions of success. But the person who lived that life existed in a different context. After loss, you are changed, not in a way that needs fixing, but in a way that needs acknowledging. Meaning after the death of a partner not be built on denial of that change. It has to fit who you are now. And that can be confronting because it means letting go of Some things you once assumed would always matter. And it can mean caring deeply about things you never expected to. Another thing I want to name here is the difference between externally imposed meaning and internally felt meaning. After loss, people are often encouraged to find purpose in certain ways: advocacy, charity, helping others, turning pain into service. For some people, these paths are genuinely meaningful. For others, they feel performative or draining. There is no moral hierarchy here. Purpose does not have to look impressive. Meaning does not have to be productive. For some people, meaning looks like being present with their children, creating stability, choosing gentleness, living more slowly, protecting their energy. These choices may not look dramatic from the outside, they can be deeply meaningful. Another important point is this: meaning after loss is not something you arrive at and then keep forever. It evolves. What feels meaningful 1 year after loss may feel different 5 years later. And that doesn't mean you were wrong before. It means you're alive, changing, and responding to life. The flexibility is important because many people feel pressured to figure it all out, to know what their life is about now. But meaning is not a fixed destination, it's a relationship. And like all relationships, it shifts over time. I also want to talk about purpose after loss because this word often carries weight. Purpose can sound grand, like you're supposed to do something significant or transformational. But purpose after loss is often much quieter than that. It might be about how you choose to live each day, how you treat yourself, how you honor what you've been through, how you stay connected to what matters. Purpose does not have to justify survival. You don't need a reason to keep living beyond the fact that you are alive. That is enough. And yet, many people do find that loss clarifies certain things, what they will no longer tolerate, what relationships matter, what they want to spend their time and energy on. This clarity can feel like a loss in itself because it often comes with grief for what no longer fits, but it can also be grounding. Another layer of complexity is loyalty. Some people worry that creating a meaningful life after the death of a partner is disloyal, that finding purpose somehow diminishes the love they had. If that fear resonates with you, I want to say this gently. Meaning does not replace love. Purpose does not erase memory. Creating a life that fits who you are now does not mean you are leaving your partner behind. It means you are carrying them forward in a way that allows you to live. Meaning after loss is not about forgetting, it's about integration. It's about allowing what you shared to shape who you are becoming without freezing your life in the moment of loss. I also want to address something else that often goes unspoken. Sometimes people don't feel any sense of meaning for a long time, and that can be frightening. Life can feel flat, empty, and pointless. If that's where you are, please hear this. A lack of meaning is not a failure. It's often a sign that you're still in the process of stabilizing, Meaning cannot be forced. It emerges when there is enough safety, space, and honesty. And until then, surviving is enough. You don't need to rush this. Creating a life that fits who you are now is not about reinventing yourself overnight. It's about paying attention, noticing what drains you, noticing what steadies you, noticing what feels quietly right. Meaning often hides in those small signals. And over time, those signals can guide you. If, as you're listening to this, you feel pressure, relief, or resistance, pause for a moment. Notice how this episode is resonating in your body. Notice how your breath is holding. Notice that you don't need to answer any big questions today. Meaning, after the death of a partner is not something you solve, it's something you live into, slowly, imperfectly, honestly. If you'd like gentle support as you navigate life after loss, explore the Happier Ever After Club at happiercoach.com/happier-ever-after, or reach out to me directly. You don't need to be happy to live a meaningful life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You are allowed to create a life that fits who you are now. So thank you for being with me here today, and I'll be with you again in the next episode. Until then.